Hello, my name is Beth Megill. I'm a certified language of dance specialist, and today I'll be leading you through a movement exploration of force dynamics. So when we talk about force, we want to think about the quality of power inside of our movement. And it's interesting because force can sometimes be confused with binding or freeing our flow, but force is a category of dynamics that centers more on your sense of real personal power and how much pressure exists in your movement. You could also think about it as pressure, how much tension exists, and how that energy is expressed and unleashed in movement. So I like to use an analogy of a balloon because I love balloons. So here we have our balloon. Now our balloon at par is a blown up balloon, but it's not particularly very full, but it's average fullness, right? Then if you were to blow it up just a smidge more, and there's a little more tension on the surface of that balloon. So begin to embody that heightened tension on the edge of the surface of the balloon. And as you're moving, feel that there's an outward pressure inside of your actions, and that there's a force that fills the container of your body. And as you're moving, you are in control because you have all of this power inside of you, all of this external from the inside pressing externally. And it's creating this outward sense of ownership of the space. Now, if we really blow up that balloon until we are on the edge of it popping, but it doesn't pop, right? So we're on the edge of that pop. Now, how would that change your force? How would that change? And then what if it just succumbed to that energy of the balloon and it did pop? And how much energy would you have as you popped? That is force. That's that edge at the top level of force. So you're this balloon and you're filling up with energy, and that force is pressing outward on the balloon, and it's rising and it's rising. It's becoming more powerful. It's becoming stronger. It's becoming stronger. It's becoming stronger until pop. And there's the edge of it. And then come back to neutral. Now, you're a balloon again. But this balloon is a 2-day-old party balloon. So it's a little bit sad, right? It's one of those that sort of gets a little wrinkly on the edges. It's still kind of floating around the space, but it's pretty droopy, right? And so here we have this reduction of force, and it's a little bit surrendered into the existence of its balloon nature 2 days after a party. So it's moving around the space, but it doesn't have a whole lot of energetic force, doesn't have a whole lot of power, and it can't really soar up to the sky. In fact, if you untied this balloon from its tether, its weight, it would just hang around, right? It's not going to fly away. It has no force to go anywhere. It just sort of mingles in the space, and it gets kind of pushed around by drafts in your house and can't really control itself and doesn't have its own orientation. And now that balloon is completely deflated and it just flops. And now you're moving this balloon, but it's completely floppy, and the rubber is just wrinkled and soft and doesn't go anywhere, and you're flopping, and you can, everywhere you try to go, you go, but you flop it, and it's just like no power, no force, no, we would say no energy, right? But the quality of energy is that it just, you got nothing. You're empty. You're completely undone with power. And you're surrendered completely to not having any control over your movements. It just happens to you. And then revitalizing and coming back to a neutral place. So force is a very practical approach to soliciting energy from dancers. And this is actually, I find, a very common idea that choreographers express and ask of their dancers, right? They'll say things like, I need you to be stronger. Well, what does stronger mean? Well, it means that we need to activate our force. And it means that we need to pay attention to how much power we have within an action. So let's wrap today's exploration with a brief movement exploration. If you choose a gesture of one or both arms, and it could be any gesture, and feel that gesture and notice that that is your par, that is your neutral expression of the gesture. And now fill that arm or those arms, fill that gesture with a little rise of air pressure, a little rise of that energy inside the balloon, and feel how that gesture changes when we increase the force, not because it's hard, but because there's more activation inside, and the molecules inside the balloon are pressing outward a little more, and there's a little more direction and attention and control, power, force within that gesture. Now, make that gesture as strong as you can, as powerful, as forceful. It's just absolutely the top muscular power in your body as you are making this gesture. Beautiful. And then come back and try it again with par, whatever it was originally. See if you can redo it. How does that feel? What do you notice? And now deflate your balloon, right? Ugh. Relaxed, a little saggy, right? You're still doing it, but it's just a little more released, a little more relaxed. It's being influenced by other forces, other dynamics like gravity, right? It might also be influenced by an external force of another body, you can imagine. And now one more time, and still do the gesture, but make it completely floppy, completely surrendering your power. Absolutely no strength, just plop, 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 plopping, wimpy, weak, absolutely nothing going. But you're still doing it, but it's the sensation that you have no power, no force. So these are really subtle qualities. And as we cultivate them more and more, we will be able to tap into them in a variety of situations. And we'll notice that there are natural affinities for these dynamics, pairing with particular actions in our movement, signatures, and in our creative voices. So start to watch and notice, what is your go-to force? How much force do you like to dance with? And how does that exist for you in your dance making, in your storytelling, and in your characterizations within dance? Thank you so much. And I look forward to our next time together.